Okay, I got a video request here from Propane Mower 3. I gotta move my lawnmower here. Oh, it's too heavy to move. Two hands on here. Okay. Anyways, got a video request from Propane Mower 13. Sorry. He wanted to know how I fixed my V-twin. I'm guessing that he probably has a V-twin with compression problems. Both cylinders, when I got it, which I was, I think, 13. This is a 95, so it's pretty old. It's got a lot of hours on it. She's still running great. Absolute lover. Anyways, push her back here so I can get in front of her. But both cylinders had great compression when I first got her, and this cylinder has always fired. This cylinder stopped firing, and I could never figure out why. And finally fixed it, put a new coil on it. That fixed it for a lot of years, you know. And then about 3 years later after that fix, that cylinder stopped working again, this cylinder. And just so frustrated, got a compression tester, tested both cylinders. That's about 180, 150, something like that. I think that was 151. And this one was down at 86. And I'm like, oh crap. That's horrible. That's just, you know, I was kind of upset about it. And just thought I'd try my best to get the compression up. So I pulled the top end off. Actually, I don't have any bolts in it yet, so I can pull the top off for you. There we go. It's naked! Anyways, I pulled the top off here, and I pulled the top end off, the overhead valve off. To do that, you have to take these two screws off, or those two bolts. You have to take this off. You have to take those out. Then there's two bolts here. And there's two bolts actually hidden in here. You gotta find those. And then there's two bolts on the bottom here on the muffler. And then this whole thing just slides out. You gotta remove the carburetor actually too to get these out of the way. It's just a really big pain in the butt to get this side out. Hopefully it's your other side, because your other side is easier to get out. But pulled it off. And I did my best. I took some pee, let's see, not pee, but I got the product over here. Actually broke the can, but the can is still holding some. But I used, there we go. So it's made by Blaster, which is a great product, or a great company. And it's getting all over my fingers, as you can see. But it's called LMT. It stands for Lawnmower Tune-Up. This is the high performance formula, and you're supposed to spray that in your cylinder and start your lawnmower. Don't do that unless you know what you're doing. I actually don't use it like that very often at all. I use it for what I'm going to tell you next. I pulled this off and turned it up like this, and you can see the two valves sitting, and I sprayed it in there and let it soak for about an hour and a half. And I went like this and poured it out, and took a tiny little screwdriver and scratched all the carbon out of there. And then I pulled the springs out of here and pushed the valves in through when it was out anyways. Pushed the valves in through, cleaned out the valve seats, didn't touch them with sandpaper or anything that would scratch it, because you don't want to scratch it because you can ruin your valves. And if you want to get technical about it, you could reseat your valves, but I didn't. I might want to though. And cleaned out the valves, cleaned out the back side of the valves, and you know, I scratched off all the stuff very gently, especially on the valves, so I didn't have to reseat the valves. Make sure you have your valves labeled so you know which one's exhaust and which one is intake, because when you clean them, they look identical. So make sure you have them labeled, and make sure that label doesn't come off, because mine did like 2 or 3 times. But I cleaned that out, cleaned the piston out, like there's a bunch on the piston. I scraped that out. Did the same thing with the LMC, except I let it soak for just a half an hour and then it just all came off. I put it all back together and then it was running great. And then it just stopped all of a sudden. I'm like, what is this now? What is this? And check the spark plug. It had spark. And I'm like, what the heck? Hopefully it's not getting too dark here. And I was just so frustrated, so confused. I'm going to push this back actually some more. Oh. Anyways, I was just so frustrated and so confused. And finally pulled this overhead valve off. And those two push rods had fallen and were just sitting at the bottom not doing anything. And if you know engines, that can damage your engine doing that, having your valve sitting like that. I'm going to back this up a little bit here. You can hear how it starts. It starts wonderfully, except when that happens. Anyways, the reason why I moved it here is because I put a light right here. There we go. Some more light for you. Hi, Nelly. Anyways, that's my dog, Nelly. But those were down. Finally, I'm like, oh, finally, I know what it is. And make sure when you put those valves back in, those the valves themselves, but the two push rods. Make sure those are on the little ball things back in the back here. They're like pivot things that the ball sits on the end of the rod. Be quiet. Anyways, make sure it's on there on both of these, right? It can still push it, be on the side and crush the seat that it sits in. Just make sure you get that in there right so that doesn't happen. And I put them back up, got them in the seat right, and then it ran great. Guess what? It had another problem. I was like, what's this? What is it this time? And I pulled that again, and I said, well, that's not it. They look just fine. So I went to the spark plug. Pulled the spark plug out. Let me see the spark plug in there. Pulled the spark plug out and tested it. I tested it by putting it on the other cylinder that I know sparks, and it didn't. It didn't worth anything. Put a different spark plug in, it ran great. And then I went to Walmart, got a lifetime warranty Briggs & Stratton spark plug. That's what's in there now. It's a platinum. And it runs beautifully, and I don't expect any more problems from it. So, I hope that helps Propane Mower 3. And I'm glad to see you back, Propane Mower 3, because you've been gone for a while. At least that's what it has been looking like. I'm going to put this casing back on here. But I hope that helps with your problem. I hope that helps anybody else with their problem. If that still doesn't help at all after you cleaned all that out, make sure you have the valves in right. Make sure you didn't scratch the valves. If you scratch them, you're going to have to go get reseating compound and reseat your valves. Because if you try to run it without reseating them, it will burn your valves out. And if that still doesn't help, then I would try new rings. And if that still doesn't help, and you know those rings are tight, then get new gaskets for everything. And if that doesn't help, I'm sorry, dude. I have no idea what's wrong. But hope that helps anybody with their V-twin problems. This is a 18 horsepower V-twin OHV Vanguard Briggs & Stratton. It's the Vanguard, which is kind of like the IC. It's got the cast iron bore. It's got the cast iron sleeves. So I hope that helps anybody. I am sorry for drawing this video out so long. See you later, YouTube. Bye. Forgot to say one more thing. If you got any more questions for me on any kind of engines or the same engine, just PM me or make a video for me. If you make a video for me, you can show me the problem on the on the video. You can post it to this video or just send it to me via PM. But I hope that helps you guys. If you got any more questions, any more requests, just let me know. I can help you. See you later, YouTube. Bye.